All right, everybody, welcome into a noontime edition of Pugs Moran Live. We call it the High Noon Show. We do it each and every day here, Monday through Friday, noon to 2-ish. Sometimes we'll go a little bit long. Sometimes we may go a little bit light. Yeah, it's all up to the way things are trending, because that's what we do here. We talk about topics, all the things that people are talking about today, whether they're trending on any platform you may visit. If it's something that people are talking about around the office, something you maybe you heard a little bit of on the radio. No, you probably didn't, because they really don't do many topics anymore. And they certainly don't do the kind of topics that we do here. No politics, no religion, and no talking about your dreams. Although I had some really weird dreams. I won't do it. I won't do it, because nobody wants to hear about your dreams. Nobody wants to hear about your vacation, and nobody wants to hear about how excellent your child is at something. We bring in my co-partner here for the noon edition, and also the Pillow Talk edition. We come back at 10 o'clock at night, every night, 10 o'clock. A little bit lighter, a little bit more fun. We watch videos of people doing stupid stuff and we break it down. Yeah, stuff like that. Hey, it's E the artist with us. Hey, E, how are you?
Oh, I'm hanging in there.
Yeah, what's wrong? You look a little down, Charlie Brown. What's happening?
Yeah, I'm not down at all. Just getting ready for noon.
Okay. All right. Well, we got a lot of stuff going on today. I gotta tell you, it's a good day. I was really worried about the topic selection for today because, you know, I just have a feeling that on Mondays we are going to have just an onslaught of stupid NFL trends, you know, because that's all everybody's talking about on Monday morning is, you know, their football, and that dominates the trends. But that has not been the case today. So we're off and running. And first, before we get, I want to throw a shout out to the beautiful artwork that we have hanging on the wall behind us. We like to feature local artists. Not even local. Are they all going to be local artists? Yeah, she's a local. Wendy Marie is a local. What is a local artist? I mean, really, it's just someone who hasn't sold anything to someone in California, right? I mean, the minute you sell something somewhere else, you're no longer a local artist.
I would not say that is a local artist. A local artist to me means that you are from or you are currently reside in Dallas, Texas. Limiting your art sales to just people that live here
doesn't make sense.
Doesn't make sense.
Local artist in that this is where her works originate from.
Correct.
That is what we mean by local artist.
That would be local artists. Like you could be out of the local artist scene, your first piece you sell. If somebody walked into a gallery and saw it from out of state.
Well, this locally based, that's how we do it. Locally based artist. This locally based artist is Wendy Marie. You can find her work at wendymarieart.com. And we are very, very grateful to her for providing a little bit of something back there. And, you know, over time, we'll see what happens. We'll change it out. We're going to mix it up. This is a show that is in development. We're trying, not that I like this stuff. By the way, we get to keep this stuff. Is this like now my art? Because I love this stuff.
Samples for free.
Well, you know, we'll talk about that off the air, I suppose.
Right.
She'll have a difficult time getting it back. That's all I'm saying, because I like this stuff. Unless somebody wants to buy it, you know, we'll sell. What would something like this go for? I mean, what do you set a price at? Because you guys deal in like high-end people, but you're not doing the art expo at the Marriott, you know? I mean, these are more fashion art.
I think, you know, I haven't seen the website in a while, but from what I remember, they were just under, I think, 500, 495, something like that.
Really? Yeah. Well, that is affordable, not to me, but it is affordable to other people who may want to get into the art scene. Also, Wendy Marie, somebody accused me of, was it your girlfriend? What are you just promoting art of your girlfriend? I don't have a girl. I haven't had a girlfriend in forever. This is just somebody who was willing to give us a little bit of work for the back of our. No, I've never even met her. I don't know who she is. She's like a wonderful lady, a talented artist. I like her stuff, but no, this isn't like shilling. She's not your girlfriend, is she? I mean, I guess that's the next question.
As a married guy, I don't think I need to have a girlfriend. That would not be a good idea.
Say no more. Say no more. All right. So now that we've gotten that clear, wendymarieart.com. You can find her stuff there, and she does a lot of really cool stuff. All right. So let's just jump in, because there are a lot of little things that I want to get to first that are trending, things that here we go. Yeah, sorry. Still kind of fumbling our way through all this, figuring out how how to just work the hurdles here. There are a lot of little things that are trending today that I wanted to talk about. Just off the top, we'll just rip through some of them. First and foremost, oh, and by the way, we're going to get into some bigger topics today. We're going to spend a little time. Do you know, are you familiar, or did you know that the VMAs, the Video Music Awards on MTV, are still a thing in 2021?
Does MTV even show music videos?
No, they do not. So where do you see videos that they are honoring every year? This is like the 40th year or something that they've done the VMAs.
Wow. I used to watch MTV strictly for the videos.
Mm-hmm.
And once they stopped doing that, I was like, well, why is it called MTV anymore?
Yeah, exactly. They completely changed somewhere around the late 90s. Started to change with the introduction of the Real World, which was the Real World. That's ground zero for this whole reality TV thing that we're suffering through the last 20 years of TV. That's where it all began. And they had such a hit with that they decided, let's keep going. And they just... Your dog's here. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard something.
The hell was that? I really feel like...
I don't know, shaking her collar. I heard that. It sounded like it was in my room here.
Yeah, no. She did something in the bedroom. Were you on the bed? Were you on the... Oh, now she's coming. Now she's got her tail between her legs. Her ears are down. She knows she did something. So I've got that to look forward to when we sign off. I'll go in there and see what's happening.
Oh, my.
Yeah. All right,
so
get out of here.
YouTube to me seemed to like take over MTV's slot.
Yes.
With videos.
Absolutely. It's the only way that I see videos now is when I like a song and I want to hear it, or somebody's got a new song out. I'll go to YouTube just to listen to the music, but it's always accompanied by a video.
Why, if you're MTV, would you have given up that ground?
I don't know. And we'll get into this because we're going to talk all about the incident that occurred last night. That is fun. There was a fun incident. Are you familiar with what happened? There's video. There's this.
Oh, I heard what happened.
Yeah.
I don't know. That he's a little whack.
Which one? Really? You're going to delineate one as being whack over the other? I don't, but I think I know what you're talking about. Conor McGregor. He's the name. Unless, I guess, you're a teen boy who still finds Megan Fox hot, which I do to a degree. But it was a little scrap over Megan Fox's new boyfriend, a dude whose name I've heard, but I have no idea what he does. He just... Machine Gun Kelly. I saw him in a movie. The only thing, I saw him in a movie once, and I thought, oh, that guy's also what? A guitar rock? Is he a rapper? I don't know what he is. He's a white guy from Cleveland. I know that.
He's a music artist.
What's that?
He's a musician, artist.
All right, there you go. I get it. And he looks like if you took Ellen DeGeneres and Dirk Nowitzki and combined them into one person, that's what Machine Gun... That's how I always think when I see Machine Gun Kelly. It's like, oh, there we go. He is a mashup of Ellen and Dirk. So we're going to talk about that. Also, hearkening back to something we talked about last night about our kids. We both have young boys. Colleges. We were discussing, what was more expensive, Notre Dame or SMU, because I mentioned that my son is torn between two schools. His dad wants him to shoot for Notre Dame, and his mom wants him to shoot for UT, I believe, which is her alma mater, and she's rightfully very proud of that. So I think he has recently begun to split the difference by saying that he wants to go to SMU, which we wondered was that more expensive than Notre Dame or what? So we've got the answers to that because U.S. News and World Report put out their annual list of the best colleges in America, and some local colleges here in the Texas region, as well as a number of colleges from my Chicago region made the list. We're represented very well. So we'll get into all of that, and we'll talk about colleges. You didn't go to college, right? You're a self-made man.
Nope. One day. That was it.
One day? What do you mean one day?
I went there and thought, wow, this isn't for me.
Okay. And you canceled the check, right?
That was it. I didn't care. Well, Dad didn't write the check, but yeah, I was like, nah, not my cup of tea.
All right. I dabbled. Didn't graduate. Dabbled. In my college, Columbia, Chicago. So I got a job like long before graduation. So it was like, really, I'm going to be on like a big time radio state. This is what I'm going to college. Why would I continue paying if I got the job while I'm still in college? So that was my reasoning. Although I will say this, I went to Columbia College, Chicago, which is a very good broadcast journalism school. It's one of the best in the country. Always has been. Very good. There's no shame in that. But when I moved here, see, when you live in Chicago and you work in media, you get conditioned to say, when people say, "Where'd you go?" You say Columbia. And people in Chicago media know what that means. They mean, "Oh, yeah, I went to Columbia too." But I continued that down here in Texas, and there are so many people who think I went to Columbia University in New York. I just let it go. Hey, if you're not going to be curious, if you're just going to jump to conclusions and ask no more questions, that's fine by me. I'll let you think that I'm an Ivy Leaguer. That is perfectly okay. But I am absolutely not. Let's see, what else are we going to get into? We're going to talk a little bit about this new study that I saw that came out. Something I think we've already known. It's about people who are just completely cutting off relationships with friends, either because they got vaxxed or won't get vaxxed. And the number is pretty high. I mean, I can speak for myself. There are a number of people that over the last couple of years who I enjoyed as friends. And one of the reasons why, we don't talk politics here, I have no interest in it anymore. It doesn't go anywhere. You have to just respect people's views. Even if you don't respect their views, you got to just at least make like you respect their views. Politics, faith, those things, those are not issues that, we need to be dividing us by. So that's one of the reasons why we talk very little of that. So unfortunately, when we discuss this issue, I feel like we may tread into some waters that I try desperately to stay away from, but we'll see how that goes. Also, SpaceX, we're going to talk a little bit about that, and we'll get into that. They're doing something. They want to shoot your neighbors into outer space, which, depending on where you live, may be a good thing or not a good thing. So we're going to talk about that whole thing. But first, let's see. Let's go through the top things that are trending, quick ones that we can get through. Okay, let's see. How about we start? Oh, we're also going to talk about Howard Stern again. Remember we talked about him? He basically told his listeners, "You're idiots if you're getting horse dewormer instead of the vax. you're
Right.
not a bright individual." Well, he went after Joe Rogan, so we've got a little bit of thing we'll listen there. It's Howard Stern versus Joe Rogan, so we'll check that out as well. Okay, here's something interesting that's trending. Hawkeye. Do you know what Hawkeye is? When I say Hawkeye, do you think MASH?
Yeah, that or KZPS 92.5.
Who's that?
No. He's on the country station, not Hawkeye in the morning. There's a
Oh,
country
a
station. Yeah.
local morning dude.
Yeah, I think 90, maybe six. I don't know.
Hold on.
Country station.
Well, the new trailer for Hawkeye is, in my opinion, the weakest of the Marvel characters. He's played by Jeremy Renner, and he shoots a bow and arrow. He's like the Avenger Ted Nugent. That's all he is. I mean, he's in a team with literal gods. Norse god Thor is a god. There are people from other planets. There are people with these incredible paranormal powers, and then you got Hawkeye driving the bus shooting his arrow. I don't know.
Just the whole arrow process takes so long to load. Like you got to pull one
fast.
out of your quiver.
Yeah,
You then got to like set it on the rest. You then got to pull it back. I don't know.
He's fast, and here's the thing. Apparently he never misses. So, that's good. I guess that'll get you. But still, when you're going up against like a cartel with machine guns, really? You're the guy wearing like an archer outfit with a bow and arrow? He's also a gymnast though. So he can do cool backflips and stuff, which
I mean, I guess it's better than a knife to a gunfight.
Better than, sure. All right, so Hawkeye is trending alongside, interestingly enough, Die Hard. Now, the Bruce Willis franchise vehicle, Die Hard, which I'm going to go out on a limb and say we all love.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
So
Agree,
was
disagree?
yeah, I like the Die Hard
Yeah.
franchise.
All right. So here's why they're trending together because people are saying that the new Hawkeye movie seems to be just a die-hard rip. Okay. So let's check this out and let's see if we see any sort of what are we gonna call it? Correlations between Die Hard and the new Hawkeye film. Here it comes. Trailer for the new Hawkeye film. Let's watch.
This is the first Christmas we've had together in years.
I love you guys. I'm making up for some lost time.
Authorities wondering if the masked vigilante who terrorized the city's underworld is back.
The past has caught up with me.
Should we be worried?
No, it's nothing. I'll be home for Christmas. I promise.
It's the most wonderful time.
When I wore this suit, I made a whole lot of enemies.
You're a Hawkeye!
Who the hell are you?
Some people have actually called me the world's greatest archer.
Are you one of those people?
It's the most wonderful.
Hey, babe, I should be back in a day or two. Hang on a second.
Is the kids jingle belling and everyone telling
Things have gotten more complicated.
the most wonderful time of the year. It's the most wonderful time. Yes, the most wonderful.
This is too dangerous. Definitely not this one.
You don't have to say definitely like that. Holy sh**! There are arrows more dangerous than that one?
It's just some Christmas.
All right, there it is. That's the new trailer for the next in the Marvel Studio franchise, Hawkeye. People are saying it reminds them of a ripoff of Die Hard. Do you see any correlations there?
I mean, I do think it has some similarities to it. It's happening during the holidays,
Christmas, bing, bing, bing.
right?
Absolutely.
City, chase scenes,
Something
things
going on with
blowing
his,
up.
something going on with his. Well, yeah, but those are just action. Yeah.
Well, but I mean, all that stuff kind of makes it similar. Something going on with his family,
Something going on with a tall building. He's
right?
in a tall building. Look, 30 Rock in New York City is the building they use here. I don't know what building they used in. Well, wasn't it the U.S. Bank building or the old U.S. Bank building? I think that's the one they used in Die Hard. Here's the thing: couple of movie laws that I see being utilized in this film. Movie laws are things that are just always true in a movie. Like, for instance, if you are the new kid in school in a film, your first day in the cafeteria, someone will be mean to you, and you will either sit alone or sit with the nerds. That's movie law. That always happens. Another movie law is if you are a tough, hard-scrabbled cop, middle-aged man who maybe is sometimes a little adrift of what's right and what's wrong. You're maybe a bit. You've made some tough decisions because you're a good cop who thinks the law is broken. You're one of those guys. You're always going to have a teenage daughter. Always, not a teenage boy, not a son. It's going to be a teenage daughter to sort of humanize you. Well, that's the movie law that I saw here. Hawkeye has a teenage daughter who misses him and worries about him. So he's not just a crazy Ted Nugent guy with a bow and arrow. He's got a heart. He's got a family. I also think. Oh, here's the other thing we're going to talk about. Rogers is trending today. Rogers is double trending, and that's why. Well, it's trending as a single, but it's trending for two different reasons. Because in that video clip, in that trailer for the new Hawkeye film, they're on Broadway, and there appears to be a Broadway play, Steve Rogers the Musical, which as they drive by, Steve Rogers is, of course, Captain America. So it's like in this Avengers franchise, there is now a Broadway play called Steve Rogers the Musical, and Aaron Rodgers got benched last night. So a lot of people on the social platforms are writing about Rodgers, whether it's Steve Rodgers or Aaron Rodgers. We'll talk about that too. So that's the Die Hard trailer, or that's the Hawkeye Hard trailer that's trending.
I noticed that they broke the grammar law, or I don't know, grammar spelling.
What's that?
Well, the title of the movie is with a small h versus a big H, capital H.
So it is a capital H or it isn't?
It isn't.
Yeah, because that's his name.
Right.
I don't know if it's his proper name. I don't think that.
Still, it should be capital.
Yeah, one would think, one would imagine.
So pay attention to the trailer and look at that. It kind of looks like a house.
All right. I don't really need to go back and watch it. I've watched it a couple of times. Like I said, I'm not a big Hawkeye fan. I don't even know if I'm a Jeremy Renner fan. I just don't know. All right, so we talked about Rodgers. Rodgers is also trending on multiple platforms for both what we talked about there, the Steve Rodgers musical, and also because of Aaron Rodgers. We're not going to talk a whole lot about football today, but let's see here. Aaron Rodgers got benched yesterday. A lot of people are talking about that. Do I have that here? Oh, yeah. Let's see.
Was it a benching or was it a mercy benching?
You know, I watched Matt LaFleur and his press conference on YouTube last night just to check it out. There we go. No, we still don't have it. And, you know, the headline on the YouTube clip was, Coach LaFleur rips Aaron Rodgers. And no, he didn't. No, he didn't. So apparently Aaron Rodgers got benched with 11 minutes left in fourth quarter. They brought in I want to say Jalen Love. It's Jalen Hurts. Jordan Love. So they bring in Jordan Love. And he doesn't fare much better than the reigning NFL MVP. But the big talk now is that, like, people in Green Bay have had it with Aaron Rodgers. What would it take Aaron Rodgers is the reigning MVP. Did you see any of that game last night?
I didn't watch any of the game. I did hear that Jameis Winston had 5 touchdown passes, but I didn't see any of the game.
Look, I had to sit through Andy Dalton last night. I would take Aaron Rodgers in a heartbeat. However, if Aaron Rodgers has completely checked out on football, as a Bears fan, I'm totally cool with that because he has just been the stuff of nightmares for me and my Bear fandom for years now.
Well, I mean, I don't think he's checked out of football, and I don't think he was really benched. I think the game was just so far out of hand.
38-3.
Why not give the other guy a chance when you're not going to be able to mount a comeback with that little time left, being that far behind?
And why get him hurt, right? Maybe just acknowledge, hey, it's not your day. Let's put the kid in there. This is when we put the kid in.
That's what I think.
All right. Let's see. What else is trending here? Let's go through some of these. Boy, oh boy. Goes after Joe Rogan. Some of these I want to save so we can get into. So let's just do. Here's one that's trending. I'm gonna have to. Maybe Litecoin is trending. Now, this is one of those cryptocurrency deals. Litecoin is trending because it appears that there was a bit of a pump and dump scheme. Now, can you explain what a pump and dump scheme is as far as stocks and all that goes?
Well, you try to run the price of the stock up by, promoting it. And so you pump up the price, and then once it gets up there, you sell it.
You bail out. And then you stop promoting it.
People that were promoted to buy at the high point are all of a sudden stuck because it's now dropped, and they got pumped up, and then other people dumped it.
Do you know anything about cryptocurrency? Are you involved in that at all?
I don't have a clue about cryptocurrency other than something with some binary codes that's worth some money, that if you lose your password, you can't get it back. And, I don't know. Somebody mine it and create some kind of, I don't know. I don't know.
Why not just start an oyster farm? Why not just hoard pearls? I don't understand what it is. How are people paying for things? I don't understand one bit about, and I don't want to know. And I know I should, because people are going to become billionaires overnight. If you had 1 Bitcoin in 2000, I don't know what.
It seems like black market money to me.
Yes.
That's what it seems like.
Yes, it seems like, the what do they call it? The dark web or whatever. It seems like the kind of things people would pay for child brides with, or it just seems
Like,
like
if you don't want people to know where your money is or how you're paying for things, or you want to stay under the radar of the government's income tracking system, Bitcoin seems to me like that was what it was about when it first came out. Now it seems like it's gotten too public for it to be the black market money system, but I don't know.
And what is the difference? This is Litecoin, Bitcoin, Dogecoin. Dennis Rodman has a coin. How can this be real? How can I don't? It makes no sense. I know it makes sense to people much brighter than I am, but I just, in my accelerated age, I've only got a few years left. I can't possibly imagine that this is something that I'm going to cash in on. So, here's the story though. Cryptocurrency Litecoin gave up a 20% gain and tumbled back to earth following. Now, here's the pump and dump. This is what they're claiming is pump and dump. Following a fake press release sent out by Globe Newswire, which, by the way, when you try and click on Globe Newswire, it says the site's been taken down. So, this is probably an example of fake news, where we have these new entities popping up, calling themselves official sounding names like Globe Newswire. Oh, well, I read it on Globe Newswire. Right. That's just some dude sitting in a cubicle who made a website and then, decided that he was going to put fake stories out, and your aunt was going to start sharing them on Facebook. That's what this is. This is, again, folks, what I'm talking about. We need to resume having faith in our institutions. You're willing to trust, you won't trust the New York Times, CNN, or whatever, but you're going to trust Globe Newswire, something you've never heard of, that is telling you something that you like hearing. Oh, I like hearing that. That sounds good. Let's share that. That's what's happened. We have no faith in our institutions, be it government, be it the FBI, be it the power companies, be it big business. No faith at all. We're just randomly running around bumping into each other now, everybody believing what they want to believe. So this Globe Newswire put out ready for this? A press release that everybody jumped on that said Walmart was going to make Litecoin their official cryptocurrency. So
Well,
that would drive the price up, right?
Sounds to me like Globe Newswire is pretty smart.
Yeah, wow. How did they learn this? Well, they didn't, because Walmart said no. What? That's completely made up. Walmart spokesman Randy Hargrove confirmed the press release is not authentic. He also said the retailer has been in touch with Newswire Company to investigate how the false press release got posted. Man, if you're the kid, the 19-year-old college student who's running Newswire Global or whatever the hell they're calling it, and you get lawyers from Walmart calling you, you're in for a bad stretch of time. You are.
What can they do though? Like, it's not
sure
your fault.
Well, I bet you damn well they can prove that they made up this fake news report.
Well, but if you just say, hey, I talked to somebody and my friend told me that you guys are going to start taking Litecoin, and I published it on my Globe Newswire wire, and somebody took it and ran with it. Oops, I'm sorry.
So it says here, Walmart spokesman Randy Hargrove confirmed the press release is not authentic. He also said the retailer's been in touch with Newswire to investigate how the false press release got posted. Globe Newswire is owned, all right, now this is all starting to sound real important. Globe Newswire is owned by telecommunications company Intrado. It issued a notice to disregard the original release at 11:18 Eastern time. Well, that's just covering your old ass. That's, when it's fake, you put it out and say, we were duped. But here's the thing with retractions. Everybody sees the big splashy story on page 1. Nobody ever sees the retraction in the bottom corner of page 15. But for indemnification purposes, they can go, we retracted it immediately. Hey, journalism isn't an exact science. These are all the bullshit things that go on that cause us all to be running around bumping into each other because we're all so confused about everything. I will bet.
Well, but isn't this like Okay, I invested in Litecoin.
Yeah.
A press release comes out and says that Walmart's going to start accepting it. I see that press release. I go and buy more Litecoin. And then I guess, shouldn't have bought more Litecoin because the press release wasn't real or wasn't accurate. But isn't it my fault for not researching that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, yes. The people who got caught up in the pump and dump, who lost all their money, yeah, they're dummies.
So
Yeah.
now you want to blame, oh, well, Globe Research said or Globe Wire said this story. I mean,
There
you
needs
got to
to
be a little bit more conscious of the fact that we live in a day where these stories, a lot of them are BS.
I don't know if you heard earlier, but I went to Columbia. Okay. I know about journalism and I know about ethics. There truly is, when you go to journalism school, there truly is a very big part of your education that is going to focus on ethics. And whether the news media makes stuff up, look, they get shit wrong all the time, and there are fringe media outlets that have come up in the last few years who engage actively in disinformation. But for the most part, the institutional news sources of the world really lean hard into integrity, and they're incredibly embarrassed when they get stuff wrong. That's just true. People, well, the New York Times never. New York Times apologizes for something every day. Well, they get something wrong every day. Yeah, everybody gets something wrong every day. When they publish 1,000 stories a day, somebody's name's going to be misspelled, or they're going to get the wrong Joe Smith picture there. You know what I mean? But this is a question of ethics. If Globe Newswire is legit, we need to figure out what the motivation was. Was there somebody? Are they related to Litecoin? Are they? There needs to. You can't just allow this stuff to go out. And yes, the people who got burned, they're dummies. They're dummies for not really looking into this. But everything about this company seems legit. They're, even in the story it says they're owned by telecommunications company Intrado. Notice they didn't say telecommunications giant Intrado. I don't know what Intrado is. I've never heard that. Intrado could be the guy in the next dorm room.
It's another layer of the scam.
Yes.
It's
to make it all sound legit, so that
right.
people go, "Oh, Intrado. Yes, I'm familiar with them. They're legit." Let's see. A number of media organizations, including CNBC, sent headlines on the announcement. Okay, so CNBC doing some due diligence there. Well done, CNBC. Before you put that out there, you watch CNBC, right? Because you're a big stock guy.
I do.
So I mean,
I don't know that I'm a big stock guy, but yeah,
I may as well be watching Telemundo when CNBC is on. I have no idea what's happening. It's just so incredibly boring. I know that they've got a shock jock guy, Jim Cramer, who does sort of zany, like, "Hey, let's make this fun," and he's kind of a pain in the ass. That's all I know. That's all I know.
I mean, we just saw essentially a bunch of old dudes play a high school football team.
Yes.
On ESPN, and somehow when they couldn't find where these people were listed as 5-star recruits, that still didn't stop them from broadcasting the game. I mean,
that's what I'm talking about.
If you were Bishop Sycamore, if you had stock in Bishop Sycamore, and you just tuned in and saw that Bishop Sycamore was playing on ESPN,
let's buy Bishop Sycamore.
Right. Wow, I got myself a high school team full of, class A recruits.
Fast forward 24 hours later, it's not a real high school. It's not a real team.
They walked out on their bill at the hotel. They had no food, and they got their ass handed to them by a bunch of 17-year-old high schoolers.
Yeah, because again, Bishop Sycamore, they were guys in their 20s. Let's see here. The Security and Exchange. Going back to CNBC. So CNBC saw this from Globe Newswire, an Intrado company, and they decided that they were just going to run with it. You know, there was a time when I would like to believe that there was somebody doing quality control and due diligence on all of the stories. But you know what? You know who those people are? Those people are like $30,000 a year researchers that they keep there, and they can't pay those kids anymore. They don't have due diligence departments. Why? Because Anderson Cooper needs a limousine every day. And that's $33,000. And you know what I mean? That's really what I saw it happen in radio in the late 90s when all of these support staff people that used to be leaned on heavy for quality control, due diligence, research, that kind of thing, they were all suddenly let go because you needed to pay the guy in the corner office more, or you needed to. So, quality and integrity suffer when, you start to take the money away from the people who do that kind of stuff.
Well, the reason for publishing the story is because you're trying to get your audience that is buying these types of stocks, so you can get them that information faster so they can hit the stock market and catch it on the rise. I mean,
Faster. You said it, faster, so they can be first. So you can be the one that put it out there first. And where I differ with you is that you say it's to serve their audience. No, if they were serving their audience, they'd have checked this out. They'd have talked to Walmart. They'd have asked if this was true. They didn't. They just put it out. Why? Because they're interested in being able to say, we were on it first. Because again, the splashy story is on the front page. The retraction is on page 15.
well, yes, I agree with you. They should have did their due diligence, but the reality of it still is they're trying to serve their audience information that's faster than the next news channel down the dial. So you'll be tuned to them and not the guys down the dial. I mean, say it is true, and you did have a 20% raise in the stock, and then the next day it goes up another 10, you're happy as a clam.
But my point is they should have say it is true after doing the legwork to find out if it was true, as opposed to going, hey, I know something nobody else does, and we're going to tell you right now. And then it's bullshit. That's where we're having this breakdown in institutional trust. Shit like that. I'm not saying it's all on us. I'm not saying it's all because we like to read or consume news that only agrees with our point of view that we already hold. I'm saying it's across the board. It's the institutions that are responsible for it as well by doing shit like this. Every time a story comes out, CNBC, I mean, if you're a diehard CNBC guy and you were stung by this, you suddenly don't have as much faith in CNBC. I would think. I wouldn't.
No, without a doubt, I agree 100% with you. You wouldn't.
The news release,
just like when we hear Alex Jones. The minute you hear Alex Jones, you just go, okay, I don't even care what it is. It's not true.
Dallas boy Alex Jones. Do you know that during the Live 105 3 days, that guy every week sent a huge packet? He wanted so badly to be on Live 105.3. And with our first program director, Bob, we used to sit in there and he's like, you want to hear something? This guy so badly wants to be. And we'd listen to that. Was my first introduction to Alex Jones. And then, he didn't need radio. He did it himself. And now he's a monster, but a wealthy monster. I mean,
i.e., that's the motivation.
There you go. He was a go-getter. Wasn't good enough for Live 105.3, but he was definitely a go-getter. Let's see. So the news release said that Walmart, the biggest retailer in the U.S., would accept cryptocurrency payments from shoppers using Litecoin exclusively. It referenced a non-working website in the email. All right, so even the email had a non-working website. Do you know how much that would drive our boy Ed crazy if a press release went out with something and the website was a dead link? Oh my God. The release was never listed on Walmart's official corporate website. Well, of course not, because Walmart had nothing to do with it. And it's been removed from the Globe Newswire website. The Globe Newswire website, at least when I tried to check in on it about an hour ago, it was down. It said this site is down.
Yeah, they probably can't handle the amount of volume that they've gotten since.
Look, I watch Billions. Do you watch Billions on Showtime?
I do not.
Okay, you really should, because that's a show that you would really like. Billions is about billionaires in New York City, well, actually all over the globe, but the main guy is based in New York City. His name is Bobby Axelrod. He's kind of a Mark Cuban type, except he was originally positioned as a Mark Cuban type, except over the 5 seasons of the series, they've drifted away from that. Bobby Axelrod has become his own guy, but they engage Axe Capital, which is the big multi-billion-dollar hedge fund that Bobby Axe runs. They engage in this kind of shit all the time, where they'll make fake companies and fake news reports just to pump and dump. It's about crooked billionaires. It's real, dude. You should watch Billions. You would love it. That's one of those shows that you would really like, because it's all the razzle dazzle that you enjoy in life. Private jets, supermodels, guys making $100 million deals over beers at a bar. I mean, you'd love it.
Axe body wash.
Exactly. That's a part of the Axe Capital portfolio, I'm sure. But yeah, so all of my knowledge about crooked Wall Street and pump and dump stuff, it comes from Billions. It comes from Billions on Showtime. It's excellent. It really is. That's a show that you really should. If I had one show that I would say, what show would hit Emil right where he lives, that he would really get into, that he would love? And it's not a stupid soap opera. It's a drama, and there's a lot of comedy in it, because billionaires are funny with the with the crazy things that they do. So you'll enjoy that. All right, so Billions, and that's what I know. I know that Bobby Axelrod would have been totally involved in one of these situations. All right, let's see what else we're going to get into. Yeah. You know what? All right, let's get into the big one. The one that's trending all over America. This is, of course, Conor McGregor is trending, Megan Fox is trending, and Machine Gun Kelly is not trending, because obviously he is the lesser of those three. and honestly, I don't even know that he's the lesser of Megan Fox. Megan Fox is just a mega hot chick, so she's got that advantage.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, okay. So what's there to get into about it? Like,
the video is what we're going to get into. We're going to watch the video of the fight. We're going to watch it all go down, and we're going to talk about the motivations involved, because I'm telling you, the motivations involved here are hysterical. They're just a bunch of big dick cocks walking around trying to protect the one girl that everybody wants to bang. And that's what this last night, the VMAs, the MTV Video Music Awards, which we've already established, there is no reason for them to exist. They don't play videos. Nobody watches videos. Videos are something that we stumble across accidentally while trying to hear a song we like on YouTube. That's basically all it is now. Yet they still do the big VMA awards. Here, let me make sure we'll pull it up, and we'll just.
I think the videos are a way for the artists to get laid, or people associated to the artists.
I just think it's a big part. These award shows are always just big parties, and I guess it's an excuse. MTV is still in the youth culture business, so it's a way to gather all of the influencers in youth culture. Your Jenner Kardashians, your I don't know, your Conor McGregors. It's a way to get all of the youth culture people involved and get them all in one place, and you can put it on TV, and then suddenly, for one night a year, you've got a pretty decent sized audience comprised of your target audience, because nobody my age has watched the MTV Video Music Awards since, what was the last one I remember? Now, you know what the last one I remember watching? Okay, this is, and I remember this, and you'll go, oh, obviously. The last MTV Video Music Awards that I remember watching occurred on 9/9/99. And that's why I remember it, because it was the big 9/9/99 show. Now, that's not the only reason I remember it. I remember it because I was living in my condo in Chicago, and I was sitting on my couch, and I was watching the MTV Video Music Awards, and I heard some rustling in the bushes. I lived on the second floor balcony, and I heard some rustling in the bushes outside my window. And I went, oh, the dog is being a jerk right now. She's like, she wants to go outside.
Well, you get up and let her out.
This is where we need interns. Like, let the dog out. This is, one of the subtractions about doing it this way. Hi, girl. You want to go back to your daddy? You see your daddy? I think. Oh my God. All right. So I'm watching the video. I'll be right back. Emil, why don't you tell some folks about what you got going on today?
Heck with that. I'm going to go lock my door so she can't come in here. So I don't know. I'm interested in seeing this MTV music video, not the video itself, but the controversy. So when Pugs gets back from that, I'm going to go get up and shut my door because the dog's going to run right from his place over to my place. Do you ever notice when you get up, your whole screen shakes? It's like an earthquake going on. All right, now I got to go shut my door. Hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, I'm going to go shut my door so she doesn't come.
I was just going to say in 30 seconds, she's going to be over in your room, over in the big house. Here she comes. Lock her out. Oh, my goodness. Folks, small time media organization here. These are the sorts of things we have to put up with. But on some level, I hope you appreciate how we keep it real. That was CeeLo, our Louisiana Blue Merle Catahoula leopard dog.
Oh.
Who is quite possibly the worst dog I've ever been around and the best dog I've ever been around at the same time. I can't really.
She has behavior issues, that's for sure.
She has spirit. That's what she has. She is a spirited animal full of character who is just looking for a job. That's all. She just wants a job to do.
Yeah, it's called bust our balls every day.
Yeah. And attack anyone who comes into the shop. She patrols this house. And she, here's last night. We're going to, little tangent here. Last night, she came up. She sits on my blue chair. I have a blue chair on my balcony. I reside in a guest house on the property here. And I have a very nice little balcony area. It's not even a balcony. It's a deck. I have this very nice deck area with a big comfy blue chair out there. And the dog likes to come and jump up on the blue chair, it's a recliner, tilt the chair all the way back to the what would that be? The railing?
Yeah,
the railing of it. And then she stands there high above everything else and she looks around and she just barks at anything she sees. And if she sees something in it's not an alley that separates our property from the next one. It's like a grassland. It's like a little 10-foot wide patch of grass.
Yeah, it's a non-paved alley.
Yes.
It's not an alley with a street. It's just, it is an alleyway, but it's not paved.
Well, the people in the next yard are having some major renovations done to their house. So they, I hear the Tejano music all day long as they're out there working. And it seemed like good dudes. Working very slow, though. They've been doing this for 3 months. And she will stand up there and she will bark at them. And, she gets mad. And then she'll run. Have you seen her run the perimeter fence line? Like, she patrols this yard, man. She has determined that her job is to decide who can and who cannot come into this yard. And that has been bad for the pool guy.
Well, she's a herd dog. Evidently, that's what they do. That's, but yeah. Oh, well.
All right. So that's CeeLo. That's the Pugs Moran Live with E official mascot. The blue and brown eyed. My son says that she is so ugly that she's beautiful. And I think that's really, sometimes you see a fashion model that's like, wow, is she a fashion model? And then you look at him and you're like, wow, okay, the more I look at her, I do kind of see something there.
She's an abstract painting.
Yeah, she is. She's painted like a cow. She has 2 different colored eyes. She drools.
Yeah. Yes.
Built like a mastiff, though. I mean, this animal, I would feel bad for anybody that came into the yard. I really would, because this animal she looks like a pit bull with more of like a lab build, right? Wouldn't you say that?
Yeah, but she's really sweet, though. Like, she's got,
Tell the pool guy.
Well, you don't want to be the enemy, but
or the perceived enemy.
Yeah, or the perceived enemy.
All right, so back to the VMAs and why I remember 99.99. I was in my condo. I was on the 2nd floor, and I'm watching it. It's probably the last one I ever watched, and I heard some rustling down below underneath my balcony. So I came out, and I opened my window, and I looked down, and there was a police officer with his gun drawn in the bushes, and he looked up at me, and he said, "Go back in your house." I'm like, oh, boy. I don't know what's going on, but I certainly didn't continue watching the MTV Awards. I just ran to every window in the place to try and see what was going on. And I've told this story many times in the early days of Pugs and Kelly because this happened when her and I were we doing a show? Yeah, I think we were doing a show in Chicago. So it turns out that a girl that I had been dating who lived in the building down the block got into a fight with her stepdad, and she stabbed him in the throat with a steak knife. And then she ran.
Wow.
So she was like running around the neighborhood. And I'm thinking like, I didn't know when the cops were in my bushes that they were, trying to find her. But afterwards, I'm like, man, I'm surprised she didn't run here. Why did she run to my house? Right?
She wanted to come to your place for you to stash her.
Yeah, I mean, why? I don't know that I would have, because we weren't seriously dating. We'd gone out a couple of times, and she was. I could tell that let's just say that I could tell that she was capable of that. When you date somebody just a couple of times, and you're like, huh, is she capable?
Scary.
Is she capable of stabbing her stepdad in the throat with a steak knife? She sure is. So that's the last time I remember watching the MTV Music Awards, 9/9/99, when Candace stabbed her stepdad in the throat with a steak knife. He was fine, by the way. It wasn't like she didn't get the jugular or anything, but there was a lot of blood, and
My.
I never saw her again after that, actually, because they caught her and they took her away, and she went into some place where they put people who stabbed their not necessarily you know what I mean? She got put somewhere. I never inquired any further. Like I said, we weren't really close. We had just gone out a couple of times. Hey, she was a fan of the Kevin Matthews show. What can I tell you? That's how we met up at the White Hen. She was cute. Yeah, we'll go out. All right. So the MTV Music Awards have not been a thing in my life for a good 22 years at this point. But last night they became a thing in my life because my guy, who you definitely dislike, Conor Fucking McGregor, got himself a little bit more publicity, which is something that, if you've seen these last few fights, he's not quite as good at fighting as he is at getting publicity for himself because, he's gotten himself into some trouble. Okay, so we covered this, right? You don't know who Machine Gun Kelly is any more than I do, right?
I mean, he's got a couple songs that have recently, made some hay.
So you would know a Machine Gun Kelly song if it came on, you'd go, that's Machine Gun Kelly, or you just know that he has a couple songs?
Well, he was relevant because he was nominated for Artist of the Year.
Yeah,
so.
He was. Among 15-year-olds.
Well,
which I am not.
More recent music.
Jason Aldean is my Artist of the Year. That's because, I'm a man of accelerated age and I like something with a little bit more depth. But this guy, Machine Gun Kelly, who is apparently a rapper, at least that's what Conor McGregor described him as, he is dating Megan Fox, who the aptly named Megan Fox. The only thing that I know Megan Fox from is the Transformers. She had one scene in the original Transformers that was burned into every heterosexual man's head. It's the scene where she's driving the car. You might not have seen Transformers, but you might know this scene. It's the scene where she's driving the car and the car breaks down and she's on the side of the road and she lifts up the hood of the car and she's working on her car. And she's wearing a super tight tank top and the sweat is pouring off of her and she's wearing tight jeans and she's arching. It was a very, very sexy scene and it basically put her on the map. That was the quintessential Megan Fox scene. She was supposed to have been a superstar after that, but that never really happened to her. She made a couple of movies. She's never going to win an Oscar. She's not that kind of actress. She's just sort of, maybe she's the girlfriend of the star in most movies. You know what I mean? But never really the one carrying the vehicle. She wasted about 20 years. I shouldn't say wasted, but she hooked up very early on with Brian Austin Green, who played David Silver on Beverly Hills 90210. So when you consider her age, he was probably she probably had a poster of him on her wall when she was a kid. So you see why she got hooked. But she stayed with him for like 20 years. And honestly, I think that's what killed her career. I think that she look, when you are a rocket ship star, when your trajectory after the Transformers is just going up, 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 and then suddenly you start spending all your time with a D-lister who's only done one show back in the 90s. I mean, you don't even know who Brian Austin Green is, do you?
I know him because he dated Megan Fox.
There you go. Married. Yeah, they were like, I
Right.
guess they were married.
So they got married, then they get separated. They seem to have this on and off relationship for a while.
She's got his name like tattooed somewhere very private, which, ladies, it's not always going to be picnics and sunshine. I wouldn't do that. Guys, same thing. Don't get her name tattooed on you. But she is now with a rising A-lister, trying, and I would assume that the part of the metric that she's using is that hanging out with Machine Gun Kelly is going to get her suddenly at the VMA Awards, which 5 years ago she would not have been at the VMA Awards. People have been like, oh, that girl that married David Silver from Beverly Hills, that from the Transformers movie 20 years ago. So she has definitely rejuvenated her career. And a lot of it is, doesn't she look great? Isn't she amazing? And it's whatever. She's a sexy girl. So
Is he a lot younger? Is Machine Gun Kelly a lot younger than Megan Fox?
I don't know. That's a really, you know what? That's an interesting question, because David Silver was, or Brian Austin Green. Well, you've been Gilligan in your career when people only refer to you as the one character you played instead of
David
your name.
David Silver.
Hold on. How old is Megan Fox?
Meanwhile, I can show a picture of the dog.
Oh, there's CeeLo.
Mm.
So ugly, she's gorgeous. Megan Fox is 35 years old. How old is Machine Gun Kelly? Just 4 years. He's 31. She's 35. That's within the margin of error.
That's in range.
That's okay. So yeah, not excessively older. But here's what happened. So, all right, I'll tell you. We'll go through it, but I will tell you what happened. So Conor McGregor and his constantly put upon bride, Dee Devlin. Conor's with the same girl that he's always been with. When he was just an idiot running the streets of Dublin, he hooked up with this, Dublin girl, Dee Devlin, and he's, I'm not going to say stayed loyal to her because there's a lot of stories about Conor running around, but she's with him, and she's gave him a kid, and whatever their relationship is, hey man, I am actually a believer in open relationships, so good for them.
You made it sound like she went out and purchased a kid and gave it to him.
No. They produced a child, and he. I'm not going to say that Conor McGregor is carnally faithful to Dee Devlin, but he is extremely loyal to her in every other aspect. Like, he shows her off, he speaks highly of her. He's deferential to her, and she's fine with it. So whatever the relationship is, but Conor shows up with Dee Devlin. They're getting ready to walk the red carpet, and he sees Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox, right? And Conor decides, I want a picture of, I'm not going to do the Irish accent because people hate it. I'm going to get a picture with Megan Fox. So Conor pushes his way through. I mean, he's Conor McGregor. He's cameras are snapping because he's an interesting guy. He is certainly a pop culture icon of this age. So he's pushing his way through, and he asks if he can get a picture with her. And they initially say yes, according to reports. But Machine Gun Kelly moves into the picture and puts his arm around her. And Conor looks at Machine Gun Kelly and says, "Get the fuck out of here. Not you. I just want a picture with her." At which point, Machine Gun Kelly, rightfully offended, Conor is not a nuanced individual, rightfully offended, he shoves Conor McGregor. Shoves him. The two-division champ. One of the greatest MMA fighters of all time, regardless of his last couple of fights. Still, one of the greatest knockout, a guy with absolute dynamite in both hands. I mean, a guy that have you seen Machine Gun Kelly? This would not be a fair fight. This would be, like I said, he's Ellen DeGeneres meets Dirk Nowitzki. So Conor gets thrown back, pushed back, and then suddenly a wall of people come together between them. So Conor can't get to him, but he's been triggered because that's what happens with Conor. And he then throws his drink. Like you see the drink. Well, we'll watch.
Oh, that's a big manly man.
Oh, Conor McGregor. That dude has some seriously undiagnosed bipolar issues.
Like when he threw the chair at the bus.
That's exactly what I was going to say. And people are like, oh, it's just wrestling. They're just doing it for the. No, not when Conor McGregor is involved. Just like it wasn't ever just wrestling when Mike Tyson was involved. I mean, these people have a screw loose, and when they get triggered, it hits to the core of their masculinity, and they suddenly have to go to war. I mean, it's probably one of the things that makes them such incredible fighters, right? It's
incoming ice in a beverage.
He's doing it in he's wearing like a magenta tuxedo suit with skinny tight black pants. It looks good. Conor always does look good for Conor. I couldn't pull that stuff away, but he does have good tailors.
But I mean, if you're a UFC guy and you're throwing a drink at a couple, I mean, come on.
Agreed. I mean, but look, if you've bought in on Conor's insanity like I have, this is a welcome thing. This is like awesome. So then everybody starts pushing and shoving, and a whole bunch of bodyguards get involved, and they're screaming back and forth. And then I'll tell you what, let's just watch. We'll break down the video. We'll see how it happens. It's going to drive Ed absolutely nuts because I may at some point have to pause the video, which is something that we're not supposed to do. Give me a second here.
Are they playing music in the background?
Oh, man. You know what? I don't know. Oh, here we go. No, I don't think so. Because that's something that I now listen for. Okay, so here, we'll do this.
Right.
Let's see if we can share this, and then I'll just scroll through it. So we'll watch the video, and we'll see how it all went down. Okay, here we go. Conor McGregor involved in physical altercation with Machine Gun Kelly at MTV Awards. All right. So here's one. This one is the first live video of the tweet that came out. Let's see what this is all about. Okay, there's Conor. Oh, all right, that's not there with the drink. You see the drink? That's all. We didn't see it. Okay, there's a different angle. Nice to see some people wearing masks. Let's get Ellen DeGeneres out of there.
Get around this way.
Oh, I do declare, says Megan Fox.
Hey guys, back up. All the way back. No one right here.
A couple of friends very excited.
Back up, guys, back up. 3 feet, 6 feet, back up. All of you behind here now. Back up, please. Keep going.
Seriously, he touched you. I kicked his ass. I know I look like Nowitzki and Ellen DeGeneres had a baby.
All the way over here, guys. All the way over here. They cut through me. They're going to be moving. All the way over here.
They're not talking about anything. They're just standing silent. Oh, now he's laughing.
Again, I need a clear pathway all the way this way.
What would you like to do?
Not going to say it again. We'll push you out.
All right. So that was one angle of the initial altercation. Stop sharing that. All right. So that was one angle. We've got another angle here. Let's see where we get to see the drink. Any comments on that so far, other than they rushed to get the lovely couple out of the way?
Yeah, it looked like she might have got hit with some of the beverage.
I like how shook she was. Did you see her when she walked by the camera the first time? She was like, "Oh my, I do declare." It's like, come on. And women love that. Women love that. Although, do women love it when the guy you're going home with is obviously the one that would get bitched out in that altercation? Like, because what is he saying? What do you say to your girlfriend when somebody who could obviously whip your ass confronts you in public like that? Are you like, if you'd have taken one step further, I'd you know what?
But I didn't see the confrontation. It was like they had 3 people in front of him. Like he never got close.
Oh, there's another angle. We'll get to we'll get to that. There's a lot of people were videoing this. All right, so yeah, let's try this again. We'll go. This is another angle where you get to see Connor a little bit more. That one focused on the aggrieved couple, Machine Gun Kelly and Megan Fox, and this one is from a more Connor-centric angle. So here we go. All right, is that on? It is. Okay, very good. Okay. Oh, okay, there you go. Okay, so that's a he gets shot. That was a string.
Yeah, we know that.
So we're seeing. All right, so that's a short one.
Yeah, we know that.
There it is. There's a lot of drink in there. You see
like
that?
It looked like a bucket of popcorn.
It's like, there's that one. So we got Connor. And then, why can't I get this smaller?
This is proper 12 alcohol.
Yeah, that did not look like his branded whiskey. Proper 12. All right, I can't figure out how to make that work. We'll just do it again.
I mean, he didn't even really look like he wanted to get at him. The guy that was pushing him or like kind of held him away after he threw the drink, it looked like they were dancing.
Yeah, that's a big part of it, right? I mean, even when you know that you're not going to get to the person. Oh, here's a picture of them. This is as close as I guess they got. Let's see this one. Yeah, we'll get a look at this picture. This looks like moments before it started. Now, remember, this whole thing started because Connor wanted a picture with Megan and Machine Gun Kelly decided to, who's my girl? I got to be in the picture. And Connor was like, I don't want a fucking picture with you, mate, or whatever. Just totally belittled him in front of his girl, which would cause someone who lacks control of their ego to act the way Machine Gun Kelly did. So there you see him. Now, what is this on his face? What is that? Just makeup? Is that like something he's doing? Does he do you see that?
I do.
Like a white kind of glitter, maybe? See one of them glitter bitches? I don't know. All right, so
maybe David Bowie-esque.
Yeah, maybe. All right, let's watch this one. So here's Connor being held back because he's easily triggered because he's a madman.
Go, go, go!
What did he drop? The Penguin's umbrella?
What do you mean? I didn't see that.
That guy's picking up like an umbrella or like a walking cane.
I don't know.
Look.
Okay, so we have that one. Oh, there's another good picture. He's being held back. He looks mad. Yeah, you can't see it. I'm not going to waste your time with it. All right, so this is the end result. This is an interview that Conor McGregor made right after it. Let's get a look at this. All right, this is Conor talking about it. I imagine this beef is going to go on for a while, especially after this. So here
boy rappers.
What happened?
Absolutely nothing. I don't know. I just showed up and I don't know. I don't even know the guy.
Just rumors.
Just rumors. Nothing that with me. I only fight real fighters, people that actually fight, you know what I mean? I certainly don't fight little vanilla boy rappers. You know, I don't even know the guy. I don't know anything about him. Except that he's with Megan Fox. Absolutely not.
I don't know anything about him except that he's with Megan Fox.
I don't even know the guy.
What do you mean you don't know what happened? You threw a drink.
Yeah, he knows what happened. That's Connor. Look, Connor starts shit. And then, you know, when it's all over with, he's like, I don't know, I didn't do it. And it's probably, there's a hair of truth to it, because when you are bipolar, you don't know what happened. You just kind of flip out and lose all control. Look, Conor McGregor, we saw the incident that got him in a lot of trouble with the UFC, and actually the state of New York filed charges against him when he attacked. Okay. This is like something that I'm going to frame as a bad thing, but there is kind of a really cool aspect to it. So one of Conor's fighters, one of the guys that fights on Conor's team, was cornered before a UFC fight in the hotel, walking down the hallways, was cornered by team members from Khabib Nurmagomedov, who is Conor's great arch rival. The one guy that Conor cannot beat is Khabib Nurmagomedov. And one of Khabib's fighters was going up against one of Conor's fighters in a big UFC fight. And Conor's fighter was walking along down the hallway, and a bunch of Khabib's guys cornered him and started talking crap and all that. Conor's fighter went back to the hotel room, called Conor back in Dublin and said, Khabib's boys, man, they're out of control. They almost made me miss the fight. They wanted to fight right there in the hallway. You know, that whole thing. I'm big on boys backing boys, right? I'm an only child. I always had to have my friends. I always had to know that there were dudes around I could count on. Conor said, gas up the jet. And he loaded the jet in Dublin with all of his buddies. And within like 8 hours was in New York City, ready to kick these guys' ass. And that was the bus incident. When Conor arrived, all of the fighters were being moved out of the hotel over to the arena for the fight. And Conor got there just as the bus was pulling out, and all the fighters were on the bus, and Conor lost his shit. He damaged the bus. He broke windows in the bus, causing fighters to need stitches inside the bus. People inside the bus were injured by him going crazy. And then he ran off. And, you know, police warrants for his arrest were issued, and he finally turned himself. So there's that. Then a couple of months later in Dublin, there was an issue with a stool in a pub where like a 65-year-old man didn't give a shit, and that is such an old Irish man in a pub thing, didn't give a shit that it was Conor McGregor and wasn't going to give him the stool. So Conor McGregor punched him in the face, right? No, I only fight fighters, he says in the interview post Machine Gun Kelly. Yeah, you fight fighters and you punch old men, defenseless old men in pubs when you don't get your own way. And then we have this. So, I mean, you know, we know that Conor's a loose cannon. But I think it's hysterical that he just ditched D. Devlin, his wife. He's like, I got to get a picture with Megan Kelly. Right?
Megan Fox.
What is, Machine Gun. Well, she's not Megan Kelly yet. She will be when she marries Machine Gun Kelly. Then she will be Megan Kelly, a different Megan Kelly. So, okay. So that's the fun story there. I don't know. I don't know if anything's going to come of it, but it seems like good promotion vehicle to have beat.
He's probably going to get a dry cleaner bill.
I don't know, but I still am fascinated by the dynamic of your Machine Gun Kelly. You've got this electric piece with you in Megan Fox. I mean, and whenever, now you've been with some Ferraris. I mean, there has to be, looking like you've been with Ferraris.
You just got a copyright dispute for sharing that video.
Are you kidding me?
Nope.
All right.
Real time.
All right. Very good. So you've got to be insecure no matter what when you're with a Ferrari, right? Even if you are Machine Gun Kelly, right? Aren't you a little bit on guard?
No.
No.
I mean, particularly if it's Megan Fox. First of all, she has a career outside of your career.
Not much of one.
but
Really?
she's supposed to, or we'd like to think that she does. And she's going to have fans. So why you would be upset that fans are getting pictures with your girlfriend? That doesn't make sense to me. Why you'd want to get into the photo because you're jealous, I guess, because he is Conor McGregor. I don't know, maybe. But I mean, come on, when she goes onto a set, she's going to be around stars that are bigger than him.
Yeah.
So it kind of comes with the territory.
Well, I don't know. That's a very evolved way of looking at it. I mean, I can completely relate to the just bouillabaisse of crazy emotions that must have been going on inside Machine Gun Kelly's head when not only did he realize that Conor McGregor was now coming over to openly hit on his girl. Look, Conor wanted a picture. He was going to hit on her. He was going to make some kind of Conor McGregor comment.
But you're you're one of the stars of the night. You're there to possibly receive Entertainer of the Year. Conor McGregor's not up for an award. I mean, he's a presenter at the music awards, and actually he presented the category that Machine Gun Kelly was in.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Well, how do you know? Did you watch it? You're not
No,
supposed to have been watching.
I read the article.
You did a little more.
So he does. So he ends up being the presenter of Machine Gun Kelly's. You know, one of the things he was nominated for. Justin Bieber won it, and so I mean, okay. Here's how I look at it. I'm dating Megan Fox. I'm with her. Conor McGregor says, "Okay, can I get a picture with you?" I don't want you, Machine Gun Kelly, in the picture. But yo, bro, you're presenting my category of award. Ha 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 ha. You're here to see me and other entertainers. No, I'm not jealous.
All right. Well, you're a more evolved guy than me because I can completely understand the bunch of conflicting emotions that were going on inside Machine Gun Kelly, especially after being humbled. Get out of here. I don't want a fucking picture with you. I want a picture with. I mean, Conor does not have tact. Conor does not say, "Hey, my man, I'm sorry. Can I just get a picture with her because this is kind of something that I really." He didn't put it like that. He put it like, "Who the hell are you? Get out of here."
She's not there if he's not Machine Gun Kelly.
I agree. I mean, that's not a metric that's considered in that moment. That's
but it's his parade. I mean, it would be different. Okay, if we were at a UFC fight, Conor just got done and fighting. She then goes, "Hey, I'd like to go into his dressing room." And then Conor comes out and goes, "Hey, I'd like to get a picture with you." There, I maybe would be a little bit jealous if I were Machine Gun Kelly because it's not my event, but this is essentially his parade and Conor's a spectator at it. Granted, he's a presenter.
He's a
I mean, I don't know. I don't feel it.
Moving on. Let's see what else is trending here. All right, we'll jump into SpaceX a little bit. You know, honestly, we were going to talk about Howard Stern going after Joe Rogan, but I don't want to play that now because I don't know what we can and can't play, and I don't want to. And Ed tells me don't worry about it; they're all easily, defended or whatever. But we don't need that. So basically, Howard Stern went on his radio show this morning, I guess it was. And he was talking about, remember last week we talked about Stern going after his listeners who don't believe in the vax. And he basically called them all idiots. And, well, today he talked about, and it's trending. It was actually trending really high on Google Trends a couple hours ago. It was at number 2. He talked about how much publicity he got for that. And how he couldn't believe it. I mean, he understood why he received publicity for all these things in the past, his crazy stunts or whatever, provocative interviews. But he didn't understand how just simple common sense was somehow now provocative. And he started to talk about all of these people who are so confused and who are doing, these ridiculous things. And he stumbled onto Joe Rogan. And he basically called Joe Rogan an idiot for trusting a doctor who's going to shoot horse dewormer into him, but not the global college of doctors who came up with the vaccine. One guy down there in Texas who's got horse dewormer in a syringe is somehow more reputable than the world health organization and all of their doctors and all of their researchers. And then he went on to talk about polio, about, why is it that, everyone in the country got polio shots? Nobody questioned. And he talked about all of that. And he kind of went after Joe Rogan a little bit for being a dummy and an idiot, which, I find this very interesting because as of right now, I would say that Joe Rogan is far more influential than Howard Stern is. And I talked about that because when Howard Stern left radio, I think he left a very large void that he filled. He was a shock jock, sure, to some degree, but he had tempered off that in the years, just before leaving major broadcast radio. But he was also a voice of reason. He attracted Howard attracted a huge audience because he got thoughtful, decent people who appreciated that side of him. And he also attracted the low-hanging fruit who just wanted to jerk off while their favorite porn star was being interviewed. He did. He got both of those. But the service that he provided, at least the way that I saw, was this a consistent moral code. Howard Stern always seemed to be on the right side of history, regardless of all of the things. He's a shock jock. He was mean to Baba Booey. Whatever. When the big issues came up, there was a consistent morality to Howard Stern. And his influence, as great as it was, and how great was Howard Stern's influence around 2003? Right? So his place in that sort of ecosystem of listeners was very important. The low-hanging fruit listened to Howard Stern. And by low-hanging fruit, I'm talking about the idiots. The idiots listened to Howard. And if he said it, they took it as gospel, and they suddenly started to have opinions and, that were maybe not what they would naturally come to. When he left broadcast radio, there was a void created. There was a void that was filled by everyone from Alex Jones to Sean Hannity to, and those people did not have the consistent moral code that Howard Stern usually showed. So, it's funny because Howard Stern, when he left, and if you remember, he left radio, and I was working at CBS at the time, and our entire radio company was very well. He was on the station that I was on, so we had a hole in mornings. And I remember I told our program director, our general manager, I even talked with the regional manager. I spoke with friends of mine who worked for CBS in New York. At the time, I told them, there is a guy, Joe Rogan, you need to look into him. This is the guy that could fill Howard's spot. And they all laughed. Oh, the MMA guy? And I'm like, no, stop that. His demo is exactly what you want. He is connecting with young men in the very same way that Howard did. He's just doing it at a much more, Howard at that point was a guy in his 50s and Joe was a guy in his 30s, but they all laughed. They all went nuts. And now here we have it. Joe Rogan may not have even done it. Look, he's making $100 million from Spotify now. So he built his empire on just doing it every day. Kind of like what we're trying to do here. 2 times a day, high noon, at noon, every day, Central Time. And then again, Pillow Talk at 10 p.m. Central Time. So, but I just find it interesting now that we have a situation where these two guys, these two bulls are going up against each other. But it's the first time that I can ever remember where I would be like, ooh, Howard's going to get beat up over this. Because Howard doesn't have the legions anymore the way Rogan does. And Rogan's legions are 18 to 25-year-old meatheads. And whereas I used to think that Howard at least had a consistent moral code that he held to, that was keeping a lot of the crazy in check, I don't know if Joe Rogan has that. I think Joe Rogan is more of just an entertainer. I don't think that,
he's got the MMA crowd meatheads.
Yeah. And that is really a meathead crowd, man. I love MMA. I'm very much into MMA, but me and Dick Hunter used to joke about, we'd look around and we'd go, oh my God, look at these people. It's like, it's the wrestling crowd, except with real violent tendencies. Whereas the pro wrestling crowd is just nuts and like low hanging. The MMA crowd is just the same thing, except drunk and violent. So it's just a much scarier sort of cauldron. So I was going to play Howard talking about this situation, but we don't need to do that. All right. Also trending today was SpaceX. SpaceX is trending because Elon Musk has announced. Now that's Elon Musk. SpaceX is Elon Musk. Blue Origin is Jeff Bezos, and Virgin Galactic is Richard Branson. 3 billionaires all competing to be the next NASA or do whatever the next big thing is. So SpaceX, would you say SpaceX is probably the highest profile one?
For a while. I mean, I think they just recently kind of got put up on the shelf for the Bezos and the Virgin guy because they most recently went to space.
Yeah. Virgin Galactic and Bezos, they did something that SpaceX hasn't done, which is put civilians, normal people. I mean, Bezos himself and Branson himself both went. Elon Musk hasn't, secured a seat on the next SpaceX flight yet. He's not doing that. SpaceX is as far as all those three go, SpaceX is by far the most accomplished. They've been doing it. They actually go into space. They actually do things. Whereas the last two, they were suborbital. They were like, in the world of space. Some people even said neither Branson or Bezos deserves their astronaut wings because they didn't actually go into space. They just touched the perimeter.
And while I'll agree that SpaceX is more high profile, I don't know if I'm a billionaire if I shoot myself into space. And that's kind of where I go, wow, Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson kind of took a little bit of a chance.
Well, now Richard Branson I expected because Richard Branson has almost died a half dozen times, whether he's ballooning around the world and they crash in the ocean Richard Branson seems to have a death wish. I didn't have Jeff Bezos pegged for that. Jeff Bezos is the richest man in the world. You want to know how rich Jeff Bezos is? I was listening to a conversation on radio a week or so ago, and they were talking about Bezos and how much money he has. And they were talking about how he can basically outfund NASA if he wanted to. He could put, way more. He could do it better because he's just got all this money to burn. And somebody suggested, why doesn't he just buy a sports team? And they said, probably he's trying to do that too. I guess he is. He's trying to purchase a baseball team, and that takes a while. He'll probably get one. But then they came back and they did a little math on how much he has, how much money he has. Jeff Bezos could buy every Major League Baseball team, every NFL football team, and every NBA basketball team and still have a couple of $1 billion left over.
Wow.
Think about that.
That's crazy.
That is insane amount of money.
It is insane. And that's where I go to, okay, so you got that amount of money and somehow you want to leave this place where you have all this money and take a chance and go up to space that you're not going to come back?
Yeah, why? You could have such a party down here. I mean, your life could be awesome. But this is almost like what we talked about last night. Last night on Pillow Talk, we talked about the Peacock series, Dr. Death. And we discussed the God complex that a lot of doctors have, that because they can save a life, they think that they are somehow, post-human. They are something, they're a deity in their own right. That's got to be very similar to the richest man in the world, right? I mean, when you're the richest man in the world and you can do anything you want, anytime you want, Jeff Bezos couldn't go to jail. No matter what he did, he would be able to get that amount of money. Has a lot of influence.
He certainly could go to jail, but he would have to do something so
egregious,
so
obvious
to end up there
on TV. Yeah,
he would have to get caught in on video somehow doing something horrible, and then I think he would ultimately end up in jail. But the thing to me that's kind of like Elon Musk is the golden boy. Like, okay, if there's something technology wise and he says, he's going to do it, Tesla, this, that, and the other. Okay, great. But why is he not getting in the spaceship? It's almost like, remember when when he had the truck and they threw the 2 rocks at the windows, and the first time
Right.
the window broke, and then
Shadowless
he was
pickup truck windows. Yeah.
right, and then they picked up a rock again and they threw it again, and that broke. It's like that to me speaks to a level of confidence in your product that you don't have when you're going to space.
Misguided confidence. Yeah.
Well, but I mean, somewhere Bezos and Richard Branson are like, yeah, okay, if we're going to say people can go to space, we're not going to do something. We're going to do something that we're expecting all of our customers to do. Were Elon Musk not doing it with SpaceX?
Might suggest that he's not as
Confident. Right.
Well, here, look, you said, why won't he go up there? I think you answered your own question in your previous statement and wondering why Virgin, Branson, and Blue Origin Bezos would go into space, right? We wondered that open. Why would they do it? And now we're asking, why wouldn't Elon? I think we know, because I wouldn't, you wouldn't. And you're right. Maybe he's a bit, maybe the other two do have a little bit too much of the God complex. Whereas, Elon is like David Letterman. After he does a great show, he goes back into his office and says, I suck. I'm a fraud. I can't believe I'm getting away with this. There's some sense of self-awareness and depression that sets in. So maybe that means he's more human.
Or are the other guys more supportive of their teams, if you will, so much so that they'll get involved in the actual product, and Elon Musk, because he sees himself possibly as the entire brains of the operation, isn't as confident in his work product.
Where did his money? Didn't his money come from like PayPal or something like that? Wasn't he didn't he found?
No idea.
I think it was when he was like a college student in South Africa. He created the first ability to spend money online or something, and that got him his first couple $100 million, and then he went on to other things. And also, the pecking order here as far as who's got the money, it's Bezos is way out here. Bezos has more than the other two, but then there's Elon Musk, who's a little bit closer to Bezos, but then there's like Branson, Branson does not have nearly the kind of money that Amazon, Bezos, and Tesla, Musk has. I mean, Richard Branson owned record stores. When was the last time you saw a Virgin record store?
Yeah, I mean, he's transferring that brand into hotels and
you're right.
airlines.
So he's got hotels, yeah, still. It's okay. So he's got like Pritzker Hilton money. That's not Elon Musk money. That's not Jeff Bezos money. So I got to think that maybe Richard Branson has way more personally invested in this, Like Richard Branson's kids are like, come on, Dad, you're not Bezos. What are you going to leave me? 300 million? You should be leaving me $1 billion, but you're blowing all of our money on. Whereas Bezos, like we said, could buy every sports team. He could just found an entirely new league if he got pissed at the NFL. He could put 20 teams in 20 cities, fund them all, pay top dollar for players. I mean, that's a whole different stratosphere of money. All right. So why is Elon Musk and SpaceX trending? Now, you said that he had taken a back seat in recent months to the other two space adventurists, Branson and Bezos. Well, here you go. SpaceX is set to launch 4 people into space Wednesday on a 3-day mission that is the first to orbit the Earth with exclusive private citizens on board. Now, that was the one thing that SpaceX hadn't done. SpaceX didn't. They had real astronauts. They had actual career pilots, test pilots.
Right, guys that if they go up there and they don't come back, you're like, oh, well, you kind of knew that was part of the job.
Right.
Not guys that said, hey, you're saying you're going to fly me up here. I'm paying you $1 million to go and I'm not going to come back.
Not the richest man in the world, Bezos, and his little brother. That's who went up.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that a way to go out? Okay, here I got all this money and I take out my brother. I don't make it back. And some guy that paid $1 million plus to get on the plane with me.
So Elon and SpaceX, they learned from that, and they're like, so we're gonna move some people. See, but SpaceX, their business model, as I've understood it, and you know who else would know all about this? Our guy Ed, because Ed's also a big
he's
space guy
texting
like
crazy right now. He's
is he?
Yeah, he's
Okay.
a Elon
Well, then
supporter.
Why doesn't he call in? He's always welcome. He's so shy. Let's see here.
Because I don't want to hear him yell.
Yeah, that's true. SpaceX is unquestionably the most high-profile one. Well, I said that. Elon doesn't go into space because he doesn't have anything to prove. Oh, get off Elon's jock.
Exactly. He does have something to prove. When the other two guys went, why aren't you going?
SpaceX has been flying NASA astronauts for almost 2 years now. I also said that. Ed and I are on the same page. Why is he yelling at me? I guess he's not yelling because it's not caps.
No, he's giving us content.
SpaceX isn't paying for that one either. All right, I don't know what that's. I don't know. Is that maybe the new one? So at any rate, they're sending up 4 people. The Inspiration 4 mission caps a summer that saw billionaires Richard Branson and Jeff Bezos cross the final frontier on Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin spaceships a few days apart last July. The SpaceX flight has been chartered by American billionaire All right, now we got another billionaire getting involved here. The SpaceX flight has been chartered by American billionaire Jared Isaacman, the 38-year-old founder and CEO of payment processing company Shift4 Payment. He is also a seasoned pilot. And so is Jimmy Graham of the Chicago Bears. What does that mean? Any rich guy can become a seasoned pilot. JFK Jr. was a seasoned pilot. That doesn't mean you're ready to go into space.
So evidently Elon doesn't like his seasoning because he's not going up with them.
No, I bet you this guy. Okay, the exact price he paid SpaceX hasn't been disclosed. This must be what Ed was talking about. But it runs into the tens of millions of dollars. The mission itself is far more ambitious in scope than the few waitlist minutes Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin customers can buy. That's what I was getting at. What Blue Origin and the other one did is barely, for an old space nerd like me, born on July 20th, 1969, the day we landed on the moon, that's not going into space. That's like what, if you ever saw The Right Stuff, when Brigadier General Chuck Yeager was upset about not being chosen for the space program. So he took a 19.
What do you mean it's not The Right Stuff? There's probably about 100 people in creation that can say that they've been up there.
Okay, let me finish my point, because that's what I'm getting at. Chuck Yeager took an F-16 right up to the edge of space and then lost all control and plummeted back to Earth before parachuting out and destroying the plane. What SpaceX, or not, what Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin did was something that a lot of crazy pilots have tried to do and come close to doing. They just did it with a bigger engine and got a little bit further out. But they were weightless for like 30 seconds before plummeting back down to Earth. This SpaceX thing is actually going to go into orbit. It's actually going to take human beings. Well, a billionaire, this Isaacman guy, it's going to take him and his friends. I bet a couple of those friends are supermodels, don't you? Like, that's what you would.
I mean, I don't know. If I got that kind of money, I'm like going, Elon, are you coming with me? And he's like, no, I ain't going.
No. Did you see the pickup truck unbreakable glass demonstration? I'm not going. But have at it.
I mean, it's impressive. I've watched the SpaceX. You know, they go up.
Yeah.
The engines fall off. The blasters come right back down, and they land. Like the precision by which everything has happened, and they've been able to save the parts and reuse the parts, and it's not the waste, like, oh, it's coming off, it then lands in the ocean, goes down forever. Like, that's impressive, but I'm not buying the first flight if Elon's not going.
No, exactly. Yeah. But, you know, they probably decided this over drinks at some fancy club.
I'm a billionaire guinea pig.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, the goat in the chat room, he says it was not an F-16 in reference to my Chuck Yeager story. I know. I even said, or whatever it was that they had back in, and then Emil interrupted me. But I know I was using the F-16 as a general tool so that the listener would understand that it wasn't a spaceship. It was a regular military plane. Thank you. The goat points out it was an F-104 Starfighter, which sounds like a spaceship. That sounds like a spaceship to me. The mission itself is far more ambitious in scope than the other few weightless minutes that Virgin Galactic and Blue Origin customers can buy. The SpaceX Crew Dragon will be flying further than the orbit of the International Space Station. They're going out there, man. They're going on a road trip. This is a real one. You're riding a rocket at 17,500 miles per hour around the Earth. In that kind of environment, there's risks. Oh, yeah.
Like, why don't they take like the fattest person in the world out there and let them be weightless for like 30 seconds? Because, of course, they're not going to be physically fit enough to withstand probably the flight.
Hey, Goat, you don't have to apologize. I didn't mean to yell at you. Goat in the chat room is apologizing for that. Goat, I would like to thank you for the F-104 Starfighter. That thank you for helping me out there. Let's see. Each crew member was picked to represent a pillar of the mission. The youngest, Haley Arsenault, is a childhood bone cancer survivor who represents hope.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, jeez. You know, 5 years from now.
What was the billionaire's part?
I don't know.
He's representing the uber wealthy.
Greed. So if the bone cancer survivor is hope, yeah, they're going to represent the 7 deadly sins here. That's what's happening. She will become the first person with a prosthetic to go to space. Well, yes, because typically we send healthy people into space. Apparently, people haven't gone there in decades. I learned that, she laughed in the documentary. The 29-year-old was picked because she works as a physician's assistant in Memphis St. Jude's Hospital, a wonderful organization. One of the donors secured the seat of generosity. Oh, so the hope seat is going to the bone cancer survivor. Then there's a seat for generosity. That goes to Chris Sembrowski, who's 42. He's a former U.S. Air Force veteran who now works in the aviation industry. Okay, so is that just, we're going to be generous and we're going to give one seat on this thing to another dude who's kind of a pilot who, if all shit goes crazy, we're going to be generous and put another pilot.
We're going to let him check out the way that he's possibly could have previously.
Mm-hmm. The last seat represents prosperity and was offered to Cyan Proctor, a 51-year-old earth science professor who in 2009 narrowly missed out on becoming a NASA astronaut. She will be only the 4th African-American woman to go into space. All right, this is interesting. The billionaire, Jared Isaacman, who's paying for all this, doesn't seem like he's going.
Well, yeah.
Unless he's the first seat representing greed.
No, he should be the seat representing prosperity, but it sounds like he's sending somebody else in his place.
Okay, it is. In addition to Isaacman. So you've got Isaacman. In addition to Isaacman, who is the mission commander. Oh, he made himself the mission commander. That's always good. When the guy with the most money is put in charge, not the guy with the most stripes on his sleeve. You want the guy. Boy, is that this era in a nutshell? The guy with the money's in charge, not the guy who has the most experience or the guy who's...
I want to see who's talking to who on how to get the plane back. Like, is the mission commander in charge of that? No.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's going to be the control tower at SpaceX.
Where's his supermodel girlfriend? You would think that there would be some.
I ain't going.
In there. Yeah, she wouldn't go, right? She's like, so how long are you gonna be gone? I'll stay at the Malibu compound while you're up there. I'm gonna have some friends over.
Is your will updated?
What's that?
Making sure he's got his will updated.
Yeah, right. Oh, I'm sure the supermodel girlfriend is not in the will. Maybe if everything goes to shit, she'll be at the Malibu compound. Trust me.
Let me hold the keys to the safe.
Well, they'll be even if she doesn't have the safe. I mean,
he's got a go bag somewhere.
Dude, there are pawn shops on every corner in LA. All she's got to do is clean that house out. As soon as she sees that thing blow up, she's got a U-Haul and she is taking vases and Fabergé eggs. Access is a big part of this whole thing. But yeah, I can't imagine she would be in the will. All right, so that's why SpaceX is trending. Okay, so we covered Stern. We covered, we don't need to go into the 1 in 10 thing. That's a new study says that 1 in 10 of us have lost a dear close friend or family member because of their stance on the vaccine. We talked about Hawkeye. We talked about Rogers. We talked about Litecoin. What else do we get into? Colleges. Okay, so this is a throwback. This is interesting. It's a throwback to what we were talking about last night. I think it started because I asked if there was some way that we could maybe one Saturday get some tickets to an SMU game and take the boys to a real college football game. I mean, since we could walk there, right? I mean, it's like every college football game I've ever gone to involved at least a 2-hour car ride. So the SMU stadium is literally walking distance. We could take the boys and we could walk up to Ford Field or whatever it is. And I said that my son is being torn between his mother's alma mater, University of Texas, and the school that I like to pretend that I went to, which is Notre Dame. I want my son to go to Notre Dame. She wants him to go to UT. Truth be told, I'd be fine if he just goes anywhere, but these are dreams that you have for kids when they're young. And because he's, constantly trying to cut down the middle, he has decided that he wants to go to SMU. And that's his. So we started talking about, boy, is that going to be as expensive as Notre Dame? And we were wondering which school was more expensive. And so today, coincidentally, U.S. News and World Report put out their annual top colleges list, which is a very big deal, especially for parents who have kids who are, starting to look at colleges and whatnot. And here's what I learned about Notre Dame and SMU. Notre Dame, depending on what you look at, like Notre Dame is like $1,000 less per year than SMU. But when you factor in books and lodging, it's like $10,000 more. So like Notre Dame costs $15,000 additionally if you want to live on campus, you want to live in a dorm and get student housing and all that. Whereas the SMU number I saw was like $9,000. So really, it's a push. They're both extraordinarily expensive universities, private schools. Whereas UT, okay, depending on my situation at the time, for in-state, UT, and we'll talk about it here because UT made the list of America's greatest universities. UT is like $11,000 a year for in-state. And I know there's people going, no, it's not. We'll get to it.
So UT's more expensive?
No.
Oh, okay. $11,000 a year.
It's like $45,000 less expensive.
Okay. All right. Well, you said they were a push. I didn't know what. So what was the number for a year for Notre Dame?
The number, here, we'll get to that because both SMU will cover both of and they've got the details, so we'll go into it. But SMU was a little bit more expensive, like a couple $1,000s more expensive than Notre Dame per year. But then when you factor in Notre Dame's room and board and books, Notre Dame becomes like $10,000 more. I don't know why that is. It's like $15,000 for housing at Notre Dame, whereas it's only $9,000 for housing at SMU. So I don't know what that has to do with. Okay, but here's number one. What would you think? I want you to just tell me, what do you think is the number one rated university in America right now? What's number one?
Harvard.
Nope. In F you, Harvard douches. No, you're not. There's two others, right? It's always going to be either Harvard, Yale, or Princeton, right?
Right.
Those are like the three that everybody thinks of.
None of those?
Who won? Yeah, it's one of those.
I would say Yale then.
Princeton. Princeton University is the number one university in America. Tuition and fees combined cost $56,000 a year. $56,000. So a little over $200,000 a year if you want to send one kid there. Look at you.
No, what do you mean? What do you mean $200,000 a year? No, $200,000.
No, 200,000 to get a degree. It's
To go to
56,000
get
a
a
year.
degree. Yeah,
So
yeah. Well,
50
you
times
said
4 is
200,000 a
200,000. So
year.
it's like 240,000 a year.
A
Or
degree.
a degree, yeah,
Right.
and that's just undergrad. Nobody goes to Princeton and just sits tight on an undergrad. You gotta get your master's, you gotta get all of that. All right, number 1 is Princeton. Number 2 is, my pretend alma mater, Columbia University in New York City. Remember now, I went to Columbia College Chicago, and, whenever people ask me where I went, I say Columbia, and they never ask any more questions, so all right.
Room and board there has gotta be ridiculous.
Room and board for Columbia University. It doesn't have room and board, but it's got tuition at Columbia University. Remember, Princeton was 56, Columbia University in New York City, which is an awesome campus, man. If you've ever been to that part, I want to say it's like west of Harlem, maybe a little southwest of Harlem. Just if you could. It's really cool. Wait, now I'm confused. Was that NYU or Columbia I was at? I thought I was at both. Anyway, 63 grand a year for Columbia versus 56 grand a year for Princeton. And then number 3, Harvard. Harvard comes in at number 3, 55 grand a year. So as of now, number 2, Columbia is the most expensive.
But if you don't include room and board in the Columbia
Right.
situation,
Because it's New York City. It's got to be like an additional 40 grand a year.
Yeah.
At least, 50 grand a year for a
mean,
shoebox dorm.
Of course. Like, that's gotta be the most expensive one.
That would be the cool one. You know, I mean, there are 2 schools of thought about colleges and campuses. You know, you either want the rural, middle of nowhere campus where everything is sort of contained, or you want to go NYU or Columbia. See, to me, the way I was raised, that's a cool college campus. When you can go study in Central Park, it just that appeals to me. But I'm a city rat, not a country mouse. And that's just how I'm wired. Let's see. Then we've got Massachusetts Institute of Technology checks in. Oh no, you know what? I need to be fair about this because these are ties. There's a bunch of ties. Princeton is number 1, and then there's a 3-way tie for number 2, which is Columbia, Harvard, and MIT, right? And then for some reason they just jumped down to number 5. I guess you don't award a 3 and a 4 if there's a tie for number 2.
Well, I guess they're all tied, but if you shook out the tie, you'd be down to 5.
Number 5. And that's where we find Yale University, 60,000 a year. That's in where is Yale? You know where Yale is? What state? This is always fun. Because I don't know what. I just know where colleges are, their name.
I don't know. Where's Brown?
Connecticut. Oh, Brown, I would say Pennsylvania.
I'd say Cleveland.
Okay. Yale. Then we've got number 6 is Stanford University. A tie for number 6. A tie with Stanford is the University of Chicago, which is 60 grand a year. That's a super expensive school. All the rich, smart kids. The university. Here's what I know about the University of Chicago, which I can't really say about Harvard because there's a lot of dumb drips that go to Harvard. You know, they're just legacies and idiots of rich people who built libraries and shit like that. University of Chicago, those are rich kids who are also super smart. Like they don't, they split the atom there, the Manhattan Project. They got a legacy. they don't want any dummies. Another one that's like that, an expensive school, 61,000. That is not for legacies. Penn, University of Pennsylvania, another Ivy League school. California Institute of Technology comes in at number 9, and rounding out the top 10, your Blue Devils, Duke University, $60,000 a year. It seems like $60,000 a year is the ceiling that we've hit. Running through the next couple, Johns Hopkins University, which that's a big medical school. That's like if you want to become a doctor, you go to Johns Hopkins. It's not John Hopkins. It's Johns Hopkins. I believe they're 2 different names. Johns Hopkins University is number 9. Northwestern University in Chicago is number 9. That's a tie with Johns Hopkins. Then we get Dartmouth. Brown University. Here you go. Brown University is number 14. Where did you say you thought it was?
I was joking. I said Cleveland. You said Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I said Pennsylvania. No, it's Rhode Island. It's in Providence, Rhode Island. And then you got Vanderbilt. That's the university that Anderson Cooper's family owns. Washington University in St. Louis is number 14. Cornell is number 17, because another tie. And here we have the first Texas school making the list. What Texas school do you think makes the list at number 17? Who's
Rice?
Yes, very good. Rice University in Houston. Now, why did you think that? Because I don't really think of Rice. I probably would have thought, honestly, SMU. I would have thought SMU would have been there.
I thought that because very smart people go to Rice.
Yeah, that's also another doctor college, isn't it? Or maybe more of a research college.
Research college.
Okay, tied with Rice here. Sorry, is University of Notre Dame, and there we have the. No, see, now this is a different tuition number than the one I researched earlier today. This one says $58,800, so $58,800.
Yeah, that $1,200 you're saving.
Yeah, right. Because when you're scrapping together for 60 grand a year, UCLA comes in at number 20, Emory at 21, University of Cal Berkeley, that's another, Georgetown. I mean, these are all schools that if your kids went to, you could brag about. I have not mentioned one school that wouldn't go, oh, if you told you someone that your kid was going to Vanderbilt or Brown or University of Michigan comes in here. That's another good one. That is number 23, I'm sorry. And then there's not a number 24. Carnegie Mellon is 25. University of Virginia is 25.
Sounds like a bank.
Carnegie Mellon?
Yep.
Yeah. It is, isn't it? Isn't that also a bank?
Possibly.
No, is that named after the sales guru Dale Carnegie, or is that named after Andrew Carnegie, the steel magnate? Or I don't know.
Oh, no.
New York University, NYU, that's a good one. I've been there. Tufts, that's a good one. University of California, Santa Barbara.
Tufts? Really?
Tufts, Medford, Massachusetts.
Sounds like you're dealing with hemorrhoids.
The most expensive one so far, coming in at $63,000 a year. Very small undergraduate enrollment, $6,000. So you're getting a good education and you're not being, you're getting attention. As compared to UC Santa Barbara, which comes in right after it, which has twice as many people. It's got 15,000 undergraduate. This is one that I didn't get. This because I'd always thought that this was a dumb party school, but University of Florida comes in at number 28, and it's only 28 grand a year. State schools, man, I'm telling you, I'm guessing unless I become a billionaire, state schools are going to have to be the way to go.
Yeah. One of the prettiest campuses I can remember that I was on, Pepperdine.
Dude, you're stepping on me. I was going to get to Pepperdine is in here. The most beautiful campus I have ever been on is Southern Illinois University, which is a college campus that is carved into the middle of a national forest. And if you like that Midwestern, you're in the middle of the woods with rivers and waterfalls and all that, it's beautiful. But you tell no lies about Pepperdine. I was in Pepperdine once and I watched a volleyball tournament, which was on the Pepperdine's campus is Malibu.
Right. It just sits there. On the edge.
I said that I wanted to go, if I could have my pick, I would go to, NYU or Columbia, because the idea of having New York City as your campus is so cool. That is only trumped by the idea of having Malibu as your campus. I mean,
I don't know. I just imagine, okay, I'm in college. I get stoned. I study. I get stoned. I study. I go to the beach. I surf. I come back. I meet girls that are going to California to be Hollywood starlets. I mean, the whole setup there just seems like you're never leaving.
And you're right it is the environment that you're in. I mean, it's carved into like the hillsides, the cliff sides over, that overhang the Malibu beach line and all that. And that's all beautiful. But the actual university itself, there are all these pristine white buildings that stand out among the green foliage of the hillsides and the cliffside. It is really a stunning university. So I'm with you on that. It is by far the most beautiful. UC San Diego comes in, University of Rochester, number 34. That's up in your old stomping grounds, right?
Yeah, I guess you're going to go to Eastman Kodak. What do they do now?
Is that what is Eastman Kodak?
Kodak, the film,
Yeah,
the film.
the old-timey company that I don't
Right.
think's been around in 50
Right.
years. Well, I don't get your reference. Boston College, University of California, Irvine, Georgia Institute of Tech, University of Cal Davis, here we go. Okay. University of Texas at Austin. We talked a little bit about this. It comes in at number 38. It is the second rated school here in the state of Texas behind Rice. Rice was in the top 20. University of Texas, Austin comes in at number 38. In-state tuition. Remember we were talking about $60,000 and $55,000 for all these? In-state tuition. So that's our kids. In-state tuition for the University of Texas is only 11 grand a year. And I say only like that's attainable, but when you're talking about a quality high-end education, an education, there's a million colleges that don't make this list. So just because you're number 38 doesn't mean, it's a shit school. No, these are like the 100 best universities where if you've got that on your resume, you're getting a job. You're getting a job like that. So University of Texas is 11 grand a year in state. You want to know how much it jumps up to if you're from out of state?
Yeah.
40 grand. It goes up 40 grand. So if you live in Oklahoma or if you live in Louisiana and you just want to cross the, that's a big jump in price, man. That is.
I wonder if there's a limited amount of students that are allowed that are in state, because it seems like you would want to increase the revenue of the school,
right? You would think that,
or is that state assisted? Does the state pay the other, make up the difference because it's something that they do for the residents?
Well, here's something that I remember when my son was born. When my son was born, there was a plan or some kind of a deal here in Texas where if when your child is born, if you make an initial payment to a Texas, University of Texas, I believe was one I was looking at, but it might have been all Texas state schools, you could lock in the price of tuition for what it was on the day your kid was born. Does that make sense? You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like if your kid is born, my kid was born in 2009, he won't go to college until 2017. In 2017, when I start paying for his college education, I will only have to pay
early enrollment of
2009. Right. So that sounded like a good deal. Was not in a position to take advantage of it. You had to make the initial payment, I think. You had to make one tuition payment. And then when your kid was ready to come, you could make more based on that initial payment. University of Wisconsin-Madison. That's another great campus. That's another awesome campus. University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign. That is a terrible campus. That's an ashtray. That is in the middle of a cornfield. There ain't nothing to see there. Good bars. Had a lot of great times at U of I, but that is just not a pretty campus. Lehigh University, Northeastern University. Okay, load more. I want to get to SMU because we've already established that Notre Dame was 55 a year. Unfortunately, SMU, which, all the kids who go to SMU, they'll tell you it's the Harvard of the South. Yeah, not really. Not according to this list. That would be Rice. Rice looks like more the Harvard of the South than SMU. The Ohio State University comes in. And just below The Ohio State University, we have Pepperdine. Pepperdine University. How much do you think Pepperdine tuition and fees cost?
$60,000.
Yeah, it's exactly what it is. $60,000. And they, you want to talk about a small undergraduate enrollment. They've only got 3,000 students. That's a high school. My high school almost had 3,000 students. So they're keeping the riffraff out of there. Let me see. Florida State, that's another party school. Santa Clara, never heard of it. University of Miami, thought that was a party school. University of Miami is almost 60 grand a year.
Yeah, they've got a medical program there.
Yeah, I know we're running over a little bit, but I gotta find SMU. We're already at 59. All right. You know what? University of Indiana, Bloomington. Oh, here we go. And finally, pulling up. So remember, Notre Dame was 55,000, according to what we saw here. And Notre Dame was number 6 in the nation. Southern Methodist University of the campus of which we are broadcasting from. Well, campus adjacent, certainly in that area. Southern Methodist University is number 68, which I mean, look, 68 is great on this list. That means it's one of the best colleges out of like a million colleges. You're number 68. That's great. I really would have thought it was higher. $60,236.
Yeah, I was going to say when I was talking to my financial planner about
one of the three most expensive schools in this list, Southern Methodist, right here in the beautiful 1%er neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. He said it would be about 60,000 a year.
Mm-hmm. We better get cracking. We better come up with some. I'll tell you, knock knock nurse will get us there. All right, but we're not going to push that. And then Texas A&M, which is 13 for in-state and 40. That's it. Okay, so those are the top colleges. I can't afford any of them. I'm really going to lean hard into my kid getting some form of scholarship now because, quite frankly, that is way too much money. What's UNT? Nothing wrong with UNT, University of North Texas.
No idea. I know there's like 44 or 45,000, I think, people enrolled there.
UNT is a great school. Again, terrible campus. What a terrible college campus that is. But fun school. I mean, I've had a lot of fun at UNT. What is
not a
nearly?
I mean,
hold
not
on.
much of a campus.
No, it's not. It's not. But we're comparing it to Pepperdine, NYU, and University of Madison, which is on a lake and filled with trees, and
UNT's close to Lake Louisville.
Yeah, okay, that'll sell it. All right, UNT yearly tuition. Let's see what they say. Oh yeah. Come on, my kid could be a member of the Green Machine.
9,000.
11 grand.
11. Oh, so Texas.
In-state tuition, 11 grand. Out-of-state tuition, 21 grand. But that's University of North Texas is a very good school for a lot of different reasons.
For the arts?
Arts, but yeah, also, I was going to say music, but that's the arts. It's kind of the same thing. I don't know if they're curing cancer up there, but they are making sick beats. That school is.
And art, paintings, sculpture, stuff like that.
I know a lot of very sharp people who went there, and I know a lot. I mean, I know that it's not a joke school. It's actually a pretty good school. I like to compare it to people who might be listening in Chicago. University of North Texas is like the same thing in my mind as Northern Illinois University. Both are really good schools. They just never get mentioned up with the Harvards or the Northwesterns or whatever that is. All right, folks, we're done here. We gave you a little extra time today, 7 minutes over. It doesn't matter because we make the rules here at the Radio Misfits Network. I'd like to thank E for joining me. We're going to be back at 10 o'clock tonight for a Pillow Talk edition, which is a little bit different than this show. We do a little bit more, have a little bit more wild, have a little more fun, a little bit more conversational, not so topic driven. We hope you've given you a decent cheat sheet for the rest of your day so that when you hang out with people at work, you can say, I know what you're talking about. That's what we do here every day, high noon. Join us, spread the word, and we appreciate you all coming by today. We'll see you again at 10 p.m. Central Standard Time tonight for Pillow Talk with me, Pugs Moran, and E, on the Radio Misfits Network. Bye, everybody.